Hi children, we continue with our fourth chapter, carbon and its compounds. Our today's topic is we have to learn some important carbon compounds. Important carbon compounds. The first one under that is ethanol, an alcohol, ethanol. The formula of ethanol is CH3, CH2, OH, CH3, CH2, OH. This is the condensed formula. It can be again condensed and written as C2, total 2 carbon atoms, C2, H5, then OH. These 3 plus 2, 5, C2H5OH, or one more way, you can write the molecular formula as C2, total how many hydrogen atom? 5 plus 1, 6, C2H6O. This is the molecular formula of ethanol. So, in the question paper, it may come anyway, CH3, CH2OH is ethanol, C2H5OH, that is also ethanol. It is again condensed and written. Molecular formula is C2H6O, 2 carbon atom, 6 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So, C2H6O. Now, coming to ethanol. Ethanol is a liquid at room temperature. Ethanol is a liquid at room temperature and it is the main ingredient of all alcoholic drinks. It is the main ingredient of all alcoholic drinks. So, it is commonly known as alcohol. So, in addition to this use, it is used in tincture of iodine, medicines like tincture of iodine. We use betadine as an antiseptic. I hope you know betadine. The substance, the chemical substance that is present in betadine is tincture of iodine. So, alcohol is used in medicines like tincture of iodine, many cough syrups and tonics because it is a very good solvent. Ethanol is a very good solvent. That is why it is used in medicines like tincture of iodine. Iodine is dissolved in ethanol to make tincture of iodine. Then in cough syrups also the solvent part is ethanol. That is the reason why after consuming some cough syrups we have a drowsy feeling. That is because of the presence of alcohol in that. And many tonics also contain alcohol as solvent. It is a very good solvent, because of that it is used in these medicines. And it is soluble in water in all proportions. Ethanol is soluble in water in all proportions. And intake of even a very small quantity of pure ethanol is known as absolute alcohol, without water, absolute alcohol. So, intake of even a small quantity of pure ethanol, which is known as absolute alcohol, it can be dangerous. So, if it is not mixed with water, upon consumption it can be dangerous. And long term consumption of alcohol, ethanol, leads to very serious health problems like liver get affected. And there is a, in your textbook page number 72, there is a box, do you know how do alcohols affect living beings, that you have to read. That box you have to read. How do alcohols affect living beings? Long term consumption of alcohol has very serious problems in our body. So, when large quantities of alcohol is consumed, it tends to slow down the metabolic processes in our body, then it depresses the central nervous system. So, what happens to the person? He loses his coordination, lack of coordination, he will have mental confusion, drowsiness and lowering of the normal inhibition. Usually people have certain inhibition. So, that is the reason why after consuming alcohol, some people who do not know dancing, singing, etc., they start to dance, start to sing. So, all the normal inhibitions are lost, lowering of the normal inhibitions. Then finally, he starts to speak stupor. So, all these are effect of alcohol on our central nervous system as a result of the action of this alcohol, excess of alcohol on our central nervous system. So, people sometimes feel that they get relaxation after consuming alcohol. Actually, it is not relaxation. What is happening is he loses his sense of judgment, sense of timing, everything is lost and all his body activities are seriously impaired. So, it affects, consumption of ethanol affects our central nervous system and lot of harmful effects on our body. Okay. Now, unlike ethanol, there is an alcohol called methanol. It is poisonous, it is extremely poisonous. It can affect if it is consumed, it can affect optical nerve, it can cause blindness, or it can finally result in death also, because it affects the protoplasm of it affects the cell structure. The protoplasm get coagulated and it can result in death. The consumption of methanol can result in even death. Okay. Now, as I told you, ethanol is an industrial solvent. Ethanol is an industrial solvent. So, the ethanol which is kept for industrial use is made unfit for drinking by mixing it with a small amount of methanol. Ethanol which is kept for industrial use is mixed with a small amount of methanol to make it unfit for drinking. So, sometimes certain dyes, colored substances are added so that it can be easily identified. Then it is called denatured spirit. It is called denatured spirit. Then it cannot be used for drinking because it contains a poisonous substance called methanol. So, it is called denatured spirit. Everything is given in page number 72. Towards the end of that page it is given. Please go through that paragraph. Okay. So, now we will see the chemical properties of ethanol. Chemical properties of ethanol. Chemical properties of ethanol. So far we discussed the physical properties only. It is a liquid at room temperature. It is an active ingredient of all alcoholic drinks. That is the reason why it is known as alcohol, and because of its good solvent properties, it is used in medicines like tincture of iodine, cough syrups and many tonics. It is soluble in water in all proportions, but intake of absolute alcohol, that is pure ethanol, is dangerous. Without water it is dangerous, and also long term consumption of alcohol can lead to a lot of health problems. Now, chemical properties. First one, reaction with sodium. Ethanol, CH3, CH2OH. Ethanol, two molecules of ethanol reacts with two atoms of sodium, CH2ONa plus H2. Hydrogen gas is released. Hydrogen is released. Name of this compound is sodium ethoxide. So, what happens when ethanol reacts with sodium? Ethanol reacts with sodium to form sodium ethoxide and hydrogen gas. See children, you have to write these equations again and again. Only then you will be able to write it for the exam. Write these equations and learn. Don't just read, write and learn. Okay. So, sodium ethoxide, CH3, CH2ONa, sodium ethoxide along with the evolution of hydrogen gas. Second reaction is dehydration. What do you mean by hydration? Hydro means water. Hydration means addition of water. Dehydration means removal of water. Removal of water. So, when ethanol is, I will write ethanol like this. So, in the previous equation I wrote the condensed formula. Here I am writing the structural formula, CH3 CH2OH. CH3 CH2OH. It is heated at 443 Kelvin in presence of concentrated, the excess of concentrated sulfuric acid. So, ethanol is heated. The reaction conditions which are written above the arrow mark is very important. Above and below the arrow mark, important. If you do not write this, you will not get any mark, because in the absence of this concentrated sulfuric acid, or if it is not heated to 443, this reaction will not take place. So, writing those informations above and below the arrow mark is very important. So, when ethanol is heated at 443 Kelvin in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid, what happens is it loses a molecule of water. Dehydration means removal of water. H and OH makes H2O, isn't it? H and OH makes H2O. Now, what is left? CH2, CH2. Now, what is the nature of the bond? Only two valencies are satisfied. This is ethene. Changes to ethene. Dehydration of ethanol results in the formation of ethene. So, when ethanol is heated at 443 Kelvin with excess of concentrated sulfuric acid, it loses a molecule of water. Water is lost like this, H from one carbon atom and OH from the other carbon atom. H2O is removed plus H2O, and the compound changes to ethene. Since the water molecule is removed, it changes to ethene. In important question, what happens when ethanol is treated with concentrated sulfuric acid at 443 Kelvin? It changes to, it undergoes dehydration to form ethene. The equation, everything is very important. You write and learn this. Okay. And what is the function of concentrated sulfuric acid here? It is acting as a dehydrating agent. Dehydrating agent. Because it removes water from alcohol. So, we call it as a dehydrating agent. It acts as a dehydrating agent. So, this is very important. In presence of concentrated sulfuric acid, when heated to 443 Kelvin, ethanol undergoes dehydration to produce ethene. The function of concentrated sulfuric acid here is as a dehydrating agent. Okay. So, that is all about ethanol. Thank you.